네, 여러분 모두 착석.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats, and this is going to be the last session for today. And first of all, I would like to thank everybody who are still here with us. And since this is the last session of the day, I hope you can all stay with us until the end of this session. The theme of this session is Policy Debate for the Recovery of Jeju's Casino Industry. And this is the first session to be introduced in Jeju International Casino Policy Forum. Let me introduce you to the moderator of this session. He is Chairman Jong of Jeju Casino Regulatory Commission. He is currently the professor of Halla University of Jeju. He used to be a member of Presidential Committee on Policy Planner, and he is currently working as a regional economy researcher of Jeju Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Please welcome Chairman Moon with a big hand. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Chairman of Jeju Casino Regulatory Commission, Jong. I actually proposed this session myself because I felt that Casino Policy Forum up until now has been oriented outwards, but I felt the need to look inside amongst us, among the stakeholders of Jeju casino industry. I wanted to have a free discussion about the inner affairs or inner aspect of Jeju's casino industry. We have ample time on our hands, so I would like to ask all the speakers to speak as much as they want, as freely as they want. So I wanted to suggest a different direction for this year's Jeju International Casino Policy Forum. We have invited everybody from the media, Jeju Tourism Association, and this is not just for the stakeholders of Jeju industry, but also from the media and the Tourism Association, and also from NGOs, civic societies, how they are perceiving the casino industry of Jeju. So let me introduce you to the speakers, panel discussants. First of all, Director Bang Sang-hoon of HR Affairs of Jeju Dream Tower Casino, and Deputy Managing Director Kang Byoung from Jeju Daily News, and Professor Hwan from Kyung University, and also a member of Casino Regulatory Commission, and Secretary General Kim Nam-jin from Jeju Tourism Association, and Cha Gang-il from Jeju Civic Organization, and last but not least, Planning Director Lee Sang-moo of Jeju Oriental Casino. Well, I was supposed to give you 5 minutes for each discussion, but you don't have to restrict yourself to 5 minutes. You can go as much as you want. Through today's policy discussion, we want to know the details about all the negative perception surrounding the casino industry. And in the past, there were a lot of emphasis on CSR activities, but now ESG seems to be the talk of the town. So you can also talk about that in your discussion. First, Director Bang Sang-hoon of Jeju Dream Tower Casino. Hello, I'm Bang Sang-hoon from Jeju Dream Tower Casino. So this policy debate is for recovery of Jeju's casino industry. So with the emphasis on recovery, well, to go back to the fundamentals, we were faced with unprecedented crisis caused by COVID-19. So casino industry was almost dead. And we are now talking about how to resuscitate life back into casino industry. This critically ill patient, and I think the panacea for the patient is changes in the policies and regulations. And Mr. Byoung, the keynote speaker, has talked about the need for open mind and open policies that I believe should resonate across all the related industries. So I'm going to talk about the need to deregulate regulations related to the casino industry. Well, I'm not the only one who's suggesting this. I'm just reminding you of what has been discussed many times before. And Professor Jong and Professor Kim Bum-jun and their colleagues have released their articles, so I'm going to refer to their article a lot. President Lee Sang-yeol, in the previous session, has said that he made a comment 3 years ago, but this year he has seen no change. So I hope what I'm reminding you of today is not going to be discussed again in next year's Casino Policy Forum. Professor Song Hak-jong, as you're well aware, has written in his article about the need for deregulation. And Las Vegas, Macau, where they have advanced casino industry, they have open policies and open mind. And that is quite different from the casino regulation of Korea. And Tourism Promotion Act has a standard for punishing the related regulation. Other industries are saying within 1 year, but for casino is 3 years. So this is unfair. This excessive punishment for casino industry should be relaxed to the level that is equal to other tourism industry. And the second thing is total revenue, which is a basis for calculating the tourism promotion fund contribution. Professor Kim Bum-jun has written an article based on 2 arguments. First, junket agents are not co-participants in the joint business. Therefore, that should be seen as a sales commission. Payment to the junket should be seen as a junket agent should be seen as a sales commission. And without regulations on junket agents, the commission should be included in the regulation in the revenue that is used for calculating the contribution to the promotion fund. And in calculating the total revenue, I think we really should have a different approach. As for junket agents, commission included in the revenue, as for the logic that it is necessary to do so, of course, there could be various logics to support this. If their commission is deducted from the revenue, this could create some side effects. From the perspective of Jeju provincial government, this will reduce their tax revenue. And in the face of such problems, who's going to take the initiative in resolving this problem? And also in the longer term perspective, casino industry that requires recovery. What is the prescription that is most urgently needed? We need to take a long-term perspective in discussing the resolution to this problem. And Professor Kim Bum-jun's article, the second argument is that from the policy perspective, this could lead to even more reliance on junket promoters. In the past, there was very strong reliance on junket promoters, and the allocation ratio of revenue between junket promoters and casino was quite unfair. But in our company, that unfairness has been resolved greatly, and casino cannot forever depend on junket promoters for their business. This is just a part of their marketing strategy. As a casino operator, if they're serious about sustaining their business, they will definitely try to reduce their dependency on junket promoters. And as for the mechanism for managing junket promoters, there is a lack of mechanism, both at the central and local governments. I think both the central and local government should take the initiative in managing the junket promoters, because this is beyond the authority of individual casinos. And if we can include sales commission to junket promoters in the revenue, of course, there are some positive impacts that are being found now from the local governments, Jeju government. Earlier this year, there were various efforts for deregulation. And it is true that Jeju government has been trying to deregulate the industry and has produced a series of videos and posted them on YouTube, recording almost 1 million clicks to promote Jeju. And Council member Yang Young-gyu has proposed 2 special ordinances, which is quite encouraging to casino operators. There are some positive progress being made, but overall, there is more to be done by central and local governments, because there are areas where we still believe regulations are excessive. By getting rid of these excessive regulations, I think we can pave the way for further growth of casino industry. Thank you very much, Director Bang Sang-hoon. Out of the 8 casinos in Jeju Island, Jeju Dream Tower Casino has done a good job of marketing. And now when I go to Dream Tower, I always see some customers in the casino, which is better than most of other casinos in Jeju. And we have the speaker from Nevada Control Board, Gaming Board. And we do not have any sophisticated regulations or control for casino industry in Korea. Jeju government is one of the pioneers in trying to come up with advanced policies and control for the industry. But in Jeju government, a small number of employees in the central government, a very small number of government officials are trying to manage entire casinos in Korea, and they rotate all the time. They stay here for a couple of years and they go to another department. So they're not really serious about coming up with helpful policies. They always say that we do not have the people to take care of that. It's been their excuse all this time. And Jeju Island, I believe they're going to get rid of their casino policy department. I think we need to bring our heads together to come up with a better solution. Now we are going to invite Deputy Managing Editor Kang Byoung from Jeju Daily News.
Hello everyone. I am Deputy Managing Editor Kang Byoung of Jeju Daily News. Well, Professor Moon talked about ESG to recover casino or gaming industry. I'm not so sure whether ESG can contribute, but among the media, I believe Jeju Daily News is the only media that has a true sense of expert who have knowledge in the casino industry. Well, it's not actually media, but rather from my viewpoint, since I've been written a lot of articles about gaming and casino industry, I do have a fairly good knowledge about it. So let me express my own personal views. Now, Jeju Island casino industries or gaming industry, I believe there are a couple of things that are critical. Let me share what that is. First of all, Jeju provincial government needs to make sure that there is a consensus about the need to promote casino industry. We've been talking about that during the main session, but I believe there's a lack of awareness. Jeju provincial residents or media, they need to feel the keen need of the casino industry. However, these casino industry is like two sides of the coin. There are positive and negative sides. But while working as a reporters, instead of understanding the positive sides, most of the people are acutely aware of the negative sides, not the positive sides. And it seems like the casino industry are hidden among many industries. We don't know about the size of that, and finding the documents or materials is really hard to get by, which means that the regular citizen will not be able to get access to the information. Before covering this article, even though I was a reporter, I never knew how many casinos existed in Jeju Island. So my point is that do we really need casino industry in our economy? We need to make sure that the awareness is firmly settled among the people. Second, so casino industry must be well understood by the residents that it is an industry that needs to be further boosted and promoted. Then how can we do that? What are the most essential things to do? First, we need to minimize the negative sides of the gaming industry, or minimizing the negative sides means we need to manage casino industry in a systematic way. What do I mean by that? Well, casino industries needs to be well managed in a practical way. To do that, the organizations or the people who monitor the casino, they need to be well equipped. For example, like Singapore or other foreign countries. Well, I don't have a full understanding about Singapore, but I do understand that they have a very tight control over the country itself, and the laws and regulations are very strict. However, Singapore is purely into developing the casino industry. So the basic premises for fostering the casino industry is that the consensus must be formed, and also we need to have a system so that we can cultivate or foster the casino industry. And we need to clarify that casino is an industry that we really need. For example, when I look at the materials and informations, I realize that casino have a very high foreign currency acquisition effect and higher job creations effect compared to any other industry, and it can create a various economic ripple effects such as productions of the related industries, creation of added value, income generations of the local residents, financial income of the local government. All of these must be well understood. And so my first point is creating a consensus and let people know about economic positive effect. Second, if we are to foster casino industry in Jeju Island, local government, especially the provincial government, needs to understand what are the needs of the policy. A couple of people already mentioned about it, but there's reorganizations within the Jeju provincial government, and deliberation will begin shortly, and casino policy department will be integrated. Well, I'd like to use the word that it will be integrated, but Jeju provincial government said that it can be further accelerated and also cultivated. But from my viewpoint, I guess it is actually integrating two divisions into one, because casino industry management team and casino policy team, there are two divisions, but they will be under the umbrella of the tourism department, which means that it will be integrated division. Instead of two divisions, it will be integrated into one. So we are striving to cultivate casino industry, but there's a big question mark. Can we really cultivate it? Rather, it will not be. So in order to cultivate casino industry, from the provincial government side, the casino regulatory commissions divisions need to be further established instead of integrating them into one. Jeju Special Self-Governing Provincial Government has come out with 4-year plan. It's actually a pledge to the Jeju citizens. There are 230 pledge, but not a single word mentioned casino industry. So I've been discussing this matter with provincial government, and what I found out is they are not interested at all in casino industry. No one talked about casino industry. No one paid any attention about it. So unlike the former governor, the current administration may not understand the need of the, maybe I misunderstood, but I feel like they are not interested about casino industry. So I guess we need to understand what are their interests about casino industry. Are they really interested in cultivating and promoting the industry? If not, what should they do? So I guess everything is very unclear. So I guess crystal clear positions of the provincial government and also determinations and willingness must be clarified. One more point that I'd like to talk about is that probably I might be talking too extremely, but the awareness that the casino industry is helpful to the people. For example, in 2018, 47 billion was the tax that casino industry paid, and most of the Jeju Island Tourism Promotion Fund is gathered and paid by the casino industry. And residents in Jeju Island, they need to understand how much contribution the casino industry is doing. However, the thing is that the funds paid by the casino are used for the tourism alone. It's limited to tourism industry. So it is necessary to expand the funds paid by the casino industry to be spent in other industry. And the tourism industry needs to be expanded. What I mean by that is the use and support of the tourism promotion fund should not be limited to the tourism industry alone. Let me bluntly put it. The casino industry is paying profit, and casino industry need to make sure that the residents understand how much contribution they are making to the government budget, and also the government budget is very helpful. For example, I'll give another example. In case of the Seoul metropolitan city, they are doing that. So 47 billion is huge. And what if it is paid to the education welfare? So, for example, it is necessary to focus on the specific field. For example, you can think of a way to focus on one thing. Free education in elementary, middle, and high school, probably half tuitions to the university and half will be paid to the students in Jeju Island, paid by the funds or tax paid by the casino industry. In that way, the Jeju resident can understand how much contribution the casino industry is making. Let me sum up. Once again, the first is improving the awareness, and second, making the people know how much contribution the casino industry is doing. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Managing Editor Kwang.
기자분이니까 뭐
Because you are a reporter, you have made all the key points very clearly, and you have pointed out the Tourism Promotion Fund. In the case of Las Vegas, all the tax revenue comes from casinos. And when it comes to social responsibilities, education, all the budget for those areas come from casinos. So people are okay with casinos. And we need casino because of those reasons. The casinos in Jeju Island, they do a lot of social contribution, makes a lot of contribution, but everything, the contribution and donation made by casinos seem to be done secretly. That shouldn't be the case. You have to make it obvious that you are making all those contributions. And slot machines use a lot of energy, so you can also show how much financial contribution you're making for the Tourism Promotion Fund. And even for the employees of casino industry, if the ordinance can be changed so that some of the money can go to benefit the employees of the casino industry, that would be nice. And we need to discuss this with the Jeju provincial government. And what happens if casino policy department is consolidated into other organizations? If the casino policy department is changed or reduced in scale, some people express concerns that there will be lack of support for promotion and boosting the growth of the industry. So the industry really should take an initiative to talk to the Jeju provincial government and probably have a meeting with the governor of Jeju about his direction on how he plans to operate Jeju Casino Policy Department. Now we would like to invite Professor Yoon Ji-hwan. Hello, nice to meet you. When we talk about casino industry, there is an equal amount, I think, of positive and negative opinions. And the previous discussant said that we need to change the perception of casino among the public, general public. Well, those of you who are here have relatively in-depth knowledge about the casino industry. And then when we talk about the impact of casino, we need to clearly separate foreigner-only casino from other casinos. We have 16 foreign-only casinos, and we have only one casino for domestic citizens. And those who do not know much about casino industry tend to think all casinos are open to foreigners. And when we talk about casinos, foreigner-only casinos where domestic people are not allowed to go in, what are the negative impact of these foreigner-only casinos? Actually, they have no negative impact whatsoever in Korea. But whenever there is a new casino opening, whenever there is a new policy introduced for casino, general public, the NGOs or related organizations, they always say that casinos are bad without any grounds. So we really need to change their perception. those of you who are interested in casinos know that foreigner-only casinos are different from other casinos, but general public do not separate them, and they only look at the negative impact of casinos. So we need to promote the accurate facts, and Jeju local netizens, citizens, if many of them have negative perception of casino, and Jeju is a region that has the largest number of casinos in Korea, we should first start with Jeju citizens so that they can change their perception of casino industry. When you look at the history of casino industry in Korea, it wasn't always like this. In the case of Songdo Casino, under President Park Jong-il, there was a homicide that took place in the casino, and President Park at the time decided that Korean citizens are not ready to enjoy casino, and he prohibited Korean people from playing in the casino. And that has set the tradition that continues till this day. So when will those foreigner-only casinos be open to Korean citizens? We don't know when that will be the case, but at least when we talk about the public perception of casinos, we should try to separate foreigner-only casinos from other casinos. I have been involved in casino for a long time. When Hwan Land opened a long time ago in 1997, when the computer system for Hwan Land opened, and also when GKL opened, I have provided the ground for why we need casino in Korea. And whenever I tried to do that, I always received pushback from people who have wrong understanding of the industry. And we talk about casino in Jeju Island because out of 16 foreigner-only casinos in Korea, 8 of them are located in Jeju. And it is almost impossible to get the permission for new casinos in Korea, but Jeju Island already has 8 licensed casinos operating. So it probably makes sense for Jeju to leverage these existing casinos as much as possible for their economy, because other regions like Saemangeum or newly developed economic zones, no matter how hard they try to accommodate a casino, it's almost impossible to get a new casino licensed in Korea. Of course, some of the casinos in Jeju are not operating successfully, but it makes sense to think seriously about how to make those 8 casinos profitable. And those 8 casinos only account for 10% of revenue in Korea, which is quite small, meaning that they are all small in size. In order to make those casinos in Jeju more competitive, they need to build on their scale of economy, meaning that they should be developed into integrated resorts. Out of the 8 casinos in Jeju, how many of them can be developed into large-scale integrated resorts like the ones in Las Vegas? Well, these 8 casinos really have to find a way to be more competitive by building on scale of economy, like they could build a cluster together. Jeju provincial government should exercise leadership in making these casinos more competitive. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much. Thank you, Professor Yoon. Yes, the industry should be able to see eye to eye with the general public. And we really need to figure out the best way to make that possible. Professor Seo has said in the previous session that it's like they're not interested. They do not even have a negative perception of the industry. It's just a total negligence or lack of interest for the industry. So we try to let them know that this is foreigner-only casino, not an open casino. This makes a lot of contribution to the fund, but people don't care. They don't know. And Jeju citizens tend to think of gambling, speculation, whenever they hear casino, and addiction, gambling addiction. They need therapists to cure of that. All this problem started in Gangwon land. Gangwon land had all these issues, and people tend to think that there will be same set of problems with foreigner-only casinos, and we really need to change their perception. Now we are going to invite Secretary General Kim Nam-jin.
Hello, everyone. Well, before coming up to the stage, I've been briefly discussing my views with government officials, and I had all kinds of mixed feelings. Well, this is, how many years? Since 1962, we've been gathering numbers and coming up with a statistic. The turning point was in 1989 when the overseas travel was liberalized. As Professor mentions, there are 16 casinos in Korea. Out of that, 8 are located here in Jeju. And starting from 1990, this was possible. So you have to think about that. Tourists, who are they? They believe Jeju is beautiful, there are clean water, beautiful mountains, but they need to do something, entertainment things. So sightseeing and enjoying themselves, something like that, so that Jeju tourism can be competitive. Among the tourists looking for a certain destination, casino takes a huge portion. On top of that, what do I need to buy? Well, there are also traditional Jeju stuff, but also they'd like to enjoy duty-free. If I go to Jeju, do I need to stop by or direct flights, which is more desirable? I mean, on the converse, you also think about that, right? When you travel abroad, do you want to go a direct? Do you want to take a direct flight, or do you want to stop by some place? These are also critical elements. So within Jeju provincial government or Jeju tourism organization, you need to make sure to attract qualitative tourists, high value added tourists. When I say high value added, means the tourists that can spend a lot of money so that we can enjoy some profit. When we can do that, we can use the terminology of high value added tourism. So in light of that, tourism, especially the casino industry, needs to be further boosted. And because of this wrong perception, casino industry was not able to enjoy a great growth. And Jeju provincial government, we have with us Director General Kwang and also Kim, who is in charge, director who is in charge of the casino industry policy. Thanks to them, we are having this Jeju International Casino Policy Forum. And because they try to change the perception, that is why we are gathered here today to discuss about the policies. And I believe the casino industry needs to have a high value-added tourism industry that earns foreign currency. 2016, about 3.8 million foreign tourists came to Jeju, but 1.72 million came right before COVID-19, and then it dropped to 21,000. What does it mean? It means 8 casinos in Jeju, they were like a funeral home. They suffer so much losses. They're about to cry, and they didn't know how to manage their casino facilities. They had their own capital capability. That's why they were able to sustain themselves. But we have to make sure that their contribution is huge. And Jeju provincial residents, they need to understand how much contribution they are doing. And also, the flag tours, and without them, the duty-free shops are closed, the tourism bus operations, the shops, the travel agencies, this is like a domino effect. They are all closed down. Even the tour guides, they are losing their jobs. Whenever I have a TV interview or media interview, I keep emphasizing that everyone there are crying hard for the losses. Slowly, we are entering into with COVID era. However, the people who left this industry, they aren't able to come back to their original occupation. Governor Oh Young-hoon, when he was elected, there was a transition team, and I was working as a chairman of the Jeju Residents Livelihood Committee, and I suggested that a 200,000 won to each Jeju residents need to be paid. However, they are not ready to come back to their own industry. Once again, these are posing a huge difficulties. So let me repeat myself. There is, once again, a fund to promote Jeju tourism, and casino industry is paying about 60 billion Korean won, which means that 50 billion is paid by the casino industry, and also about 10 billion is paid by the tourists who come to Jeju and enjoy casino industry, who leave, they pay exit tax. So as I mentioned, as other speakers mentioned, the tourism promotion fund is actually created by the casino industries, and the interest payment, which is about 1.4%, that is also paid a huge amount. So once again, the PR, marketing fees, and also to boost Jeju tourism industry, all of these are paid by the tourism promotion fund interest rate as well. So we need to make sure that the tourism promotion fund is contributed by the casino industry. What I want to emphasize is that as Director Ko, I've been discussing about this within Jeju Tourism Association, casino industry division must be newly established. So why do we need casino industry division? Because casino industry is that important. And we talk about junk industry, but of course, recruiting expert is important, but also FY is also important. We need to attract the people working in this field. It needs to be done in a parallel manner. So in 14, I went to Okinawa. In May, we talked about the launching the charter flight. So together with the PCO and also other MICE industry, but we need to establish casino divisions, and then we can launch a joint marketing activities. So once again, I believe that Jeju needs to come up with a new idea of establishing a casino industry division within Jeju Tourism Association. As I mentioned before, there are a player who come here individually, but also if we operate Jeju charter flight, and then we can attract more junket promoters. And last but not least, these junket promoters will be more concentrated here. And you know that in business administration, we pursue portfolio. Why? There is a reason for that. Jeju provincial government, we need to make sure that instead of just achieving an all-in approach, Because if we do that, there's also a challenge, especially with the pandemic and also the ongoing trade disputes. What we have learned is that the Taiwan and Japan cases are something to be learned. Both of these two countries, they have diversified their market, foreign markets. And in attracting the players for the casino industry, we need to diversify our foreign tourists. Maybe we need to attract the tourists and players using junket promoters and also using FY. And together with Jeju travel agencies and also launching charter flight, we need to recruit and attract more tourists. Lastly but not least, all the panelists have already talked about it, but the Jeju residents need to understand and enhance their awareness about the importance of the casino industry. And when the players and tourists come to enjoy themselves but using casino facility, they need to understand how important they are. And if there are more support measures taken, then I'm sure that casino industry can be further revitalized. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary General Kim. It's difficult for casinos to market themselves. And Korea Tourism Organization, we asked them to do joint marketing with them, but the provincial council was against that. And all cities in the world have nightlife, like clubs and casinos. So we wanted to make a tourist booklet. But because of the opposition from provincial government, we could not make such a booklet. So I hope that Jeju Tourism Association is relatively free from the kind of resistance or opposition. So doing that for charter flight seems to be a great idea. And ASEAN Plus Alpha, the Moon administration exercised new southern policies, ASEAN Plus, and there will be a policy focus on that area. Casino itself cannot do everything, but they're working with the Chamber of Commerce or Tourism Board. They can easily carry out those joint marketing. Next, I would like to invite the most important participant from NGOs. And there were many cases where the NGOs or civic organizations opposed what we were trying to do. We need to go together with the civic organization. And they can also be a part of this regulatory committee. Mr. Kwang.
Hello everyone, I'm Kwang. I'm very pleased to meet you all. Today, if you look at the panelists, their roles and responsibilities, we have experts from media or people working in the casino industries. They are favorable to casino industry. However, I have a different perspective. And I don't know about the audience. Probably my remark could be unfavorable, but please accept my views as different views. Please feel free to say whatever is in your minds, because there are things that I want to say. There are three things that I want to talk to you about. First, there are some contentious points, two things. Last, enhancing the awareness of the Jeju residents. The COVID-19 pandemic gave a heavy blow to casino industry. I mean, not a single industry has escaped from the heavy blow of pandemic, and casino industry has received probably the biggest blow. they have shut down their casino facilities. But especially the international environment or changing trends always give a huge challenge to casino industry. But as the quarantine measures have loosened up a little bit and the flights are resumed and the tourists are slowly visiting and we are entering into the endemic era, and I believe that casino industry is likely to be recovered soon. It's a matter of time. And that's my first point. And now, introducing online casino industry. Let me express my own views. Together with Jeju provincial government and also the relevant industry, they are having discussions about introducing the online casino industry. They are reviewing this. However, casino industry, I was informed that they have been requesting this to be introduced continuously. The National Republic of Korea has also suggested the revisions of the tourism promotion laws and regulations so that they can enable introductions of the online casino. Another speculative gaming industry or gambling industry is horse racing. And as you know, because of the COVID-19, all the gaming industries, the gambling industry, they all suffer loss, and they have asked the revisions of the horse racing action. So KRA has asked for that. In relations with that, we believe the KRA proposal is not good because it can boost the actually it can damage the privacy informations, and also the ministry in charge of is the culture, sports, and there's a hacking, cyber attack issues, and also domestic visitors can use that, and there can be some issues, conflict with the other things, and also there's a GGR issues of the gambling industry. So the social impact is quite huge, and we need a consensus among the Korean residents. That is why the proposal by KRA is accepted as in a very negative way. Once again, there is a task of creating the consensus among the Korean residents, and they have to get an agreement by the National Assembly and deliberations. So we cannot ask this law to be passed only for the sake of Jeju Island, because here in Jeju, we have not created consensus among the Jeju residents yet. So this is a difficult task to be resolved. Second, now people talk a lot about the tourism from promotion fund paid by the casino industry. Yes, we understand the main source of the tourism promotion fund is coming from the casino industry. It's about 60%. Based on the research result. And if you analyze the tourism promotion fund, casino pays about 58%, and also the people who visit Jeju Island, they pay immigration or visiting tax, which comprises about 10%. But because of the COVID-19, casino industry suffers so much, and they are paying a huge amount of the tax to the tourism promotion fund. But why don't they get the support fund from the government? They complain. And if we pay support fees coming from the tourism promotion fund to support them, we have to understand why do we need to do that? Why did we create this tourism promotion fund? It's because we want the casino industry to pay back to the society. What is casino industry? As an exception, the government allow illegal gambling into legal gambling. So once we issue license, it's like a patent. It will be given as an everlasting registration. So since they are authorized to do the business, then they have to pay for that forever. What about the horse racing industry, KRA? And they pay about 16% leisure fee, 10% local tax, 4%, and other fees 2%. So they pay much higher tax compared to the casino industry. However, casino industries are saying that we are paying enough tax, and please pay back us as a support fees. which goes against the basic aim of this tax itself, because they are paying the tourism promotion fund because they need to pay back to the society. So it goes against the basic aim. Lastly, regarding the awareness of these Jeju residents regarding casino industry, as other panelists mentioned that the Jeju residents have a wrong perception. I totally disagree. I mean, do you think that the residents have a wrong perception? Do you think that they are ignorant about the characteristic of the casino industry? Well, in order to change that, casino industry must change their way of doing business. Why do Jeju residents be so negative or so ignorant about the casino industry? Please ask yourself. There are 3 reasons. First, the essence, characteristic of Jeju casino. What is it? You have to think about that. Casino is part of or type of tourism industry, and government has authorized illegal gaming into a legal game, and casino is regarded as a flower of gambling industry. So the first word that appears in the residents' mind when they hear the casino, if we ask, do you know what the answers are? I dare to say that the answer is gambling. So casino equal gambling. That's the image that Jeju residents have. So casino industry is equal to gambling industry. That's what they think about. It's a very strong impressions and way of thinking deeply rooted in the minds of the Jeju residents. Because of that, that is why they have wrong perception toward the casino industry. Second, casino industry so far, they have committed all the illegal activities so far. Yes, 2015 was the time when the casino industry division was established within the provincial government. But before that, casino industry was located within the blind spot or gray area. For example, speculative industries, they evaded tax. There was an issue of the business management. All kinds of negative issues were mentioned by the media. So the residents of the Jeju have very bad perceptions about the casino industry. Of course, all those illegal activities were no longer detected, but still here and there, we hear that. In case of Dreamtower, I'm sorry to mention the name, but in expanding its facilities, in receiving the assessment of Dreamtower, they've done the survey, but the survey results were distorted. So those were the news that were reported. And in case of Shinhwa World, the landing casino, there was a news that in expanding its facilities, and it seems like their expansions and moving facilities seems like difficult. So what they did was all the employees have decided to tend their resignation. So these were accepted as a threat by the government. So these are actually illegal things that the casino industry have done. And second, casino industry needs to strive to pay back to the society or try to enjoy a win-win livelihood. 10% of their sales, which is like a 9% of their sales, if we add everything, are paying to the paying as a tax to the tourism promotion fund. But other than this tax, they are not making any contribution to the Jeju provincial government at all. And they brag about the fact that they are paying a huge amount, and they were even mentioning that they will pay 20%, not 10%. And there was a movement of revamping the law itself. But if you look at Macau, they pay tax, which accounts for roughly about 35% of their total sales. In case of Singapore, more than 20% of their sales are paid as a tax. Kwang Land, they pay much more. About 37% of their sales revenue are paid as a tax. So compared to the other casino industries, Jeju provincial government is not getting huge amount of tax from the casino industry located in Jeju Island. And in order to recoup that, is the casino industry in Jeju, are they doing some donations or volunteering work. I've never heard about anything similar to that. So this is another reason why the residents have such a negative viewpoint about casino industry. So these are the issues. Then how can we rectify this perception? It cannot be changed overnight. Casino industries need to strive to change the perception together with the casino industry, Jeju government. They need to work together to improve the awareness. Casino industry must change itself, must transform itself. For example, casino industry have their own consultative body, right? Then this consultative body needs to find ways to contribute to the Jeju Island residents community. And Jeju casino industry might say that we are not doing any illegal activity, but just business management is a course of evident one. And we are living in the ESG era. It's a must that the casino industry needs to do that. And also there are tons of work that Jeju government needs to improve. For example, renewing the license to be given to the casino industries or other things. Jeju provincial government needs to make sure to revise or improve the laws and regulations so that the laws needs to commensurate with that of the international level. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kwang. Mr. Kwang has given us some points that we should really listen to. And with the creation of Casino Policy Department, I believe illegal activities have been eliminated, and that's why we need this Casino Policy Department. And 10 years ago, I think I've said the same thing. Casino operators or casino owners should really be brought to the limelight. Casino employees sometimes create their own clubs and make a lot of volunteering efforts for the society. Casino owners try to pay their way or pay everything for pave the way for their business, but there are certain things that cannot be done with money. The employees of casino industry have their own clubs for social contributions, so there are many of those, but they have never been covered by the media. They are volunteering constantly, but that is not promoted to the Jeju residents. That is why Jeju residents tend to paint the entire industry with the employees with a very broad brush. And well, ESG is the trend that we need to jump on, but we really need to reveal what the industry's employees have been doing. Now we would like to invite Mr. Lee Sang-moo, Planning Director of Jeju Oriental Casino. Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Lee Sang-moo. It's a great honor to be part of this panel discussion. Well, I'm the last discussant, and that means most of what I have prepared have already been said by other discussants. But as a person who is working in the industry, I would like to offer my unique perspective. And the previous speaker, Secretary General Kwang, has made a lot of poignant comments about our industry, but I would like to focus on some of the positive impact of our industry. The theme of our session is policy debate for recovery of Jeju's casino industry. So we are definitely focusing on recovery. Pandemic has hit our industry hardest, and our employees were the ones who have been hardest. They still haven't been able to return to their jobs. And casino industry, I believe, will continue to struggle for some time. So we would have to find a way, one way or another, to recover the casino industry. I'm sure that's why we are here today. I hope we can all bring our heads together to find the best support for the industry, and I would like to ask for your understanding and support. To recover casino industry, we need legislative support and the ways to coexist with the local community. I would like to skip on areas where the other speakers have already elaborated on. And as a measure of promoting coexistence with the local community, from the Jeju Tourism Association, we've heard from Secretary General Kim. Casino industry wanted to join as a member of Jeju Tourism Association, but because of various reasons, we were not able to become the members of Jeju Tourism Association. But we know that Jeju Tourism Association plays a very important role and carries out very bold policy initiatives. And I believe if the casinos of Jeju joins one of the subcommittees of Jeju Tourism Association, there is a lot of things that casinos have to do. And the first thing is in trying to improve the perception of Jeju residents of our industry. Secretary General Kim has mentioned a lot of initiatives, and I fully support his initiatives. And the 7 casinos of Jeju can join Jeju Tourism Association by creating a subcommittee under the association. I hope we can create the subcommittee as soon as possible. And as for legislative support, in the local government, I think Jeju was the first local government to establish a casino policy department. Actually, the department has made a lot of improvement in the legislation and also in the ways the industry was managed. And this Jeju International Casino Policy Forum was inaugurated after the department was established. Already it is in its 6th year. And as a person who is working in the industry, I take this as a very positive progress, because our industry is not where we have been brought into the limelight, out of the shadow, because the Casino Policy Department was established. This means that we can be under supervision and control, but the industry can also talk to the government about the policy needs. So going forward, well, that has been the focus of the department over the past 7 years. But going forward, and Tourism Promotion Act is the basic law that governs our industry, but most of the policies have been focused on supervision and regulation instead of promotion. Of course, we need to have a clear set of management mechanism, and that's what the focus of the policy department has been. And going through the pandemic, as we are coming out of this pandemic, I hope casino industry can be seen as part of tourism industry that needs to be promoted. Casino operators are, of course, we need to be more responsible in our activities. And we will, of course, fulfill our responsibilities. And in order to make our casinos more competitive, well, Secretary General Cha was against this idea, but in spite of his opposition, let me share my opinion. Earlier this year, Jeju provincial government has established a task force team to promote the recovery of casino industry. I was a member of that TF team, and we've thought about what needs to be done for post-COVID era, and we have talked to experts from various experts. And in the first half of this year, we have identified some of the research tasks that needs to be outsourced, and I believe these research tasks results will be made available by the end of this year. Well, fundamental problem here is that our casino industry is struggling. And of course, endemic and being foreigner only are restricting our business. This year, in the second casino plan, there was an article about the review of opening a casino for tourists, and that was severely berated. And many people spoke harshly against that plan. There were so many complaints against this. And that plan, of course, was stopped. In order to overcome this endemic, I think we really need to introduce online system. We cannot promote our industry with the same set of policies. If these policies continue, our industry will be decimated. By introducing online system, we can expand our market overseas, and we'll be able to override any unexpected variables like outbreak of pandemic. We can even increase our revenue for Jeju casino industry to 1 trillion from 500 billion won. If it's a 1 trillion won market, that means 100 billion won of contribution for tourism promotion fund. This is going to be far more than all the contribution that has been made previously. And in Jeju Island, I believe casino industry is the only industry that has the potential to make such a grand contribution to tourism promotion fund. In order to make Jeju casino industry more competitive, I believe the online service is going to be the most effective solution. If we can support the industry to be at that scale, I think it's worth the commitment from Jeju provincial government. So we've heard from many speakers. And recovery of Jeju casino industry in this endemic era cannot be achieved by one single factor. There should be legislative support and more responsible attitude from Jeju casino industry and its willingness to go together with the Jeju residents. I have participated in all the casino policy forum from the first year, and we are in the 6th year. And I think we have a fairly good idea of the direction for casinos. Knowing where we should go and walking that road is different. Walking the talk is different. As we come out of this pandemic, we really need to take that path. Thank you. Thank you very much. And it seems like casino industry is thinking about going online. And keynote speaker, former Minister Park, when he was the minister, I was a member of presidential committee. And at that time, all our presidential committee was responsible for reviewing all the new policies. And one of the policies that we reviewed was opening an open casino. And former Minister Park, he said that casino is tourism now, today, but at the time he was against opening open casino when he was the minister. So we need to think about Jeju's own version of casino. Of course, Jeju's casino industry is struggling. We have a lot of time, so we are going to have discussion among discussants about that. This is the first policy debate that we are having in this forum. So probably we can do some kind of brainstorming and we can propose these ideas to the Jeju's provincial government. So, discussant, anyone would like to speak?
네, 김남진 본부장입니다. 아까
I'm Kim Sang-jin. Well, I've been listening to all the comments. Thank you so much. But now, Cha Kwang-il, Secretary General, I've been knowing you for more than 2 decades. You are very sharp in analyzing the current situation. And I believe deep in your heart, you have this warm heart that you hope to see a bright future for casino industry, I'm sure. And also whether employees or executive of the casino industries, what can we do to boost the casino industry? I'm sure that there must be something the casino industry can do that, but maybe we have not noticed. And together with the Secretary General Jang, maybe we can find a way to contribute to Jeju community. This is now being broadcasted live so that Jeju resident can understand that casino industry is working hard to do something, paying back to the society. Maybe we have representative from the casino industry. Do you have any certain charity or special organizations that you do to make contribution to the community? Do you do any extra work? It seems like I am lying. Yes, may I make a comment? In my company, most recently, there were things that we've been involved in.
When there was a season for making Korean kimchi, there are 7 autonomous villages near our headquarters. And then we shared our kimchi with those villages. And we wanted to invigorate the activities of our in-house clubs. Some of our clubs were engaged in nature protection activities. And then we tried to promote such activities through local newspapers. But there is a limit to how much promotion we can do as a company. And the local government and the ESG management can work together with the casino operators. And 5 years ago, Shilla Casino, one of the employees, I know one of their employees, and that employee told me that they always go out for social contribution activities. They go to orphanage that they are matched with their club. I know there is such an activity, but they are not covered by the press. At the time, the clubs were not really outgoing about press coverage. I'm not trying to promote any casino, but Tourism Promotion Fund gets the financial support from the Jeju provincial government, and we ask questions from the government, and we participate in all the public hearing. Last year, our casino, the members of our committee asked one of the casino operators who wanted to move to another location about what they plan to do for the local community. And the owner of the casino said that for the local community, he will donate tens of billions of won. And the legislator asked back, does that mean you have to create profit? Because you're going to suffer in the first 2 to 3 years. Are you still going to make the donation even if your business in the red? And the owner of the casino said that he will still make the donation if he loses money in the first 2 to 3 years. And that needs to be promoted. I was just there participating in the hearing, and the owner of the casino made that pledge. So that kind of fact should be reported more detailed and elaborated on. Thank you.
Well, frankly, the residents of Jeju, they are not interested in how much money the casino industries are paying. They believe that this is definitely the things that they must do. However, the agricultural sectors or farming sector, in case of JDC, what they did in the past is, for example, 150 million per year. They are selecting the towns they are involved in, and then they pay this money. So in the beginning, this was very popular. For example, the warehouse of the tangerine, they turned that into cafe or coffee shops, and they're making contribution to the local community. And now they believe that this is definitely a thing that they must do that. They believe they take it for granted. They are not appreciating it. 150 million is a must thing that they do it. So in order to revitalize the community, 2 million, 3 million, they pay to 30 towns, and they are really happy about that. So I don't know if my comparison is the right one, but local residents in Jeju, they believe that the owners of the casino industry, they create jobs or they make pledges to the community. Yes, these are important, but out of the pure mindset or innocence mindset, starting from the employees of the casino facilities and industry, if they take part in the charity activities or ESG or utilizing their talents to do contributions to the town, if there are really great stories about that, when they found out about it, I believe that their mindset will change. Any other views?
기회가 된다면 제가
Can I make a comment? I think if it's related to Jeju Dream Tower, well, I think that's too much we've heard too much of Jeju Dream Tower. So we are going to open the floor to the audience. If anyone in the audience has a question, please introduce yourself and ask a question.
예, 마이크.
Please give him the microphone. I'm Lee Sang-yeol, who was one of the discussants in the previous session. I was listening to this session, and I entered casino industry in 1998. So I think I tend to be one of the more experienced person when it comes to casino industry. In 2015, Jeju Casino Regulatory Commission was established. In the past, casino owners they were trying to revise their activities, and at the time there was lack of laws that casino industry had to conform to. And we are having this casino policy forum in an effort to invigorate the casino industry. But if we are still talking about regulation, I don't think it makes sense. And tourism fund is something that has been fixed. But was the money really used in a way that benefits the local residents? If so, that fact should be known. Casino industry must pay 10% of their revenue. That has been agreed on. Casino industry, but integrated resorts, when you look at Las Vegas, they began offering casino shows, Bellagio's fountains, and volcanoes at the Mirage to collect money. They are offered as free entertainment. Jeju Casino, Jeju Shinha World, they must let the people know that they are making huge amount of investment for Jeju. Integrated resort is not just a tourist facility. The complex itself will be a tourist destination. Tourists around the world are looking for destinations that can meet their tailored needs, and Korea has jumped on the wagon. And we need to make that our destination the best in the world. And whether we do or not, supports on our integrated, concerted efforts. The corporations must be dedicated. The public government, academia, they all need to be dedicated for this effort. Thank you.
You don't have to reply again. We don't have to reply, right? Any other comments from the audience? Well, since we are talking about Tourism Promotion Fund, let me make a comment about that. If you look at Tourism Promotion Fund, everyone understands that, all of you understand that the contribution, a huge amount, is coming from casino industry. However, the residents doesn't know about that. We are not aware of that. Almost no one, especially the money that you pay are used for a great contribution to the society. We don't know that. Some are used for the joint development of the society, education, welfare, etc. It is being used, and I believe my proposal is that we need to utilize the tax revenue so that the Jeju provincial residents understand and feel the effect of that. However, Jeju provincial government insisted that this tax revenue is paid solely for the tourism promotion fund according to the law and regulations, so they cannot change that. So personally, I believe that casino tax must be introduced separately So the tax paid, like corporate tax or acquisition tax or local resident tax, etc. There are numerous different kinds of the tax, right? So tax to be paid by the casino industry if they pay. Maybe we need to independently categorize as a casino tax. And then we can clearly understand that the casino industry has paid a huge amount of tax. If it's necessary, they can utilize this payment to other things, and then the residents understand how great contribution is actually made by casino industry. And I believe you can brag about, you can make sure that they understand that. However, the tax that you are paying is under the name of the travel or tourism promotion fund, and the residents don't really understand what kind of benefit do I get it. They don't feel that. So once again, in relations with the tax, I believe the provincial government needs to come up with a way to expand the tax revenue and then make it a new name. And I guess the central government and also the National Assembly needs to agree to that, and maybe the revisions of the current law needs to be done as well. Only then it can be possible.
Floor.
Any other opinion from the floor? If not, we could conclude early. Everybody would love that. In 1989, I was in Las Vegas, and that's when Mirage and Bellagio began developing outdoor entertainment and offered them as free entertainment. Las Vegas, they make all hotels to be built with a specific themes in mind. And Steve Wing was one of our lecturers, and he said that Las Vegas, of course, they cannot ignore high rollers, but Las Vegas must target family customers to get rid of this gambling image of Las Vegas. And it should be a tourist destination for families. And that turned out to be the right direction. At the time, Steve Wing said that moving walk, he both created entrance and exit for Mirage. Caesar's Palace only had entering moving walk, no exit moving walk, meaning that casinos in the past brought people in and made them lose their way in the casino, make them all the way lose all the money they have. And we asked Steve Wing why he created both moving walks for entrance and exit. And Steve Wing said that casino hotels that just tries to survive, but it's on its own, it's going to die. He wanted the entire Las Vegas to survive together, and casino industry should promote the existence, prosperity of the entire Las Vegas and help Las Vegas get rid of this negative image. And Steve Wing has introduced mega-scale IR, and that began kicking the mafia out of Las Vegas. They were in Las Vegas until the mid-1990s, but since then they have left the city one by one. And Jeju must introduce integrated resort and make it something that families should visit. We shouldn't just target high rollers, VIPs, give them free rooms. Of course, we need that kind of business, but at the same time, we need to target families, bring families together to Jeju and combine what we offer with the tourist attraction of Jeju. And we want to make Jeju a treasure island of tourism, and casino can be one of the pivots for that journey. And we would like to wrap up this policy debate. And I would like to thank everybody for joining us today. And I would like to thank all the panelists for their contribution. Thank you very much. Now we would like to conclude the policy debate and enjoy your networking break. And those of you who are joining us for dinner, please come to the Ocean View Welcome Reception Room on the 5th floor. And those of you who are not joining for dinner, we are going to have the next session at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. I would like to thank you all for joining us and have a nice evening.